everyone, Daisy here again with another layout for Spiegel Mom Scraps. This week we are scrap lifting Jen Scow, and I chose this photo that is from, I believe it's from 2014, one of her layouts, and it's called Jump. And I really liked how in the background she had taken like a almost a sunburst kind of pattern paper and cut it into strips. And so I'm using this circle to kind of, you know, mimic the same kind of like bullseye effect or whatever. And this is a Chamel Starshine paper, and I already cut it into strips. And so I am just going to start putting them in the correct order of the way the paper goes. I really enjoy the way this layout came out. It actually went super fast. I think it only took me about 45 minutes to do this layout, and I really love how it turned out. I did this while on the day that the eclipse was happening, so I had to keep like pausing the video and running outside because the eclipse where I live in Wisconsin, and the eclipse here was not very big. It did get darker here, but it didn't get fully dark. And it was really hard to see anything, and we didn't have the glasses or anything, so we were doing the use the selfie camera to take a picture. And plus I had been working nights this last week, and that's rough. Switching your schedule over from days until nights is kind of a challenge. So yeah. Anyway, this layout came together really well. Like I said, I really liked how Jen had taken the kind of sunburst effect and cut it up and kind of pieced it back together, and so that's what I did here. And now the video is going to jump, and you know, by the magic of video, I have stitched down each one of these strips. And I just stitched just a straight line down the middle with some white thread, and I'm cutting off all the ends because I didn't want any of, I kind of feel like the background's really busy, so I didn't want anything else to kind of add to the busyness of the background. And I'm just using some washi tape here. This is a large roll that I got in a Freckled Fawn kit a long time ago, and so, you know, in attempts to use it up, this is how I'm going to use it. They have the most gorgeous washi tape, but it's such a huge roll that it's just like I'm never going to end up using it all. So now I'm going to ruffle up the edges of each of them to add some dimension and to show kind of the difference between each of the strips here. And I do it on both sides of the strips. And then I will come back with the photo. And the photo I'm using is a photo that my daughter took of herself, of course. She's got a giant bun. And I wanted to do, you know, like one of those messy bun, getting stuff done kind of layouts, but it doesn't really turn out that way. I was really stuck on how to embellish this, and I think it had to do with being extra tired and distracted by the eclipse and everything. So what I chose to do is a really easy way to kind of embellish, or I find it's an easy way to embellish. I pulled out all of the cut apart sheets from this collection, and then I am just going to use those as my embellishments. So I cut apart some of the cards here, and one of them ends up being like my title card, and then I cut apart, you know, a few of those strips on that like fake border strip kind of paper, cut that apart. And I just find that it's a really simple way to find embellishments that match your layout and that will, you know, because obviously they're made for the same collection, so they're definitely going to go. The colors are going to be the same or similar, and everything's going to go. So I apparently didn't cut this out, and you're going to see me cut apart a bunch of this stuff. And I'm not sure what pieces I want to use yet, or if there's anything, like any special coloring I'm going with. So I'm just kind of cutting apart the ones that, seem interesting to me. And I really love that little card part there that says something wonderful is going to happen or something like that. But it matches too much with that pink background, so I don't end up using it. Now, all of the sparklers this week have been Scraplifting Jen Scow. This is our last week that we are doing scrap lifts. Every week in August we have done a different scrapbooker. We have scraplifted one of their layouts. And so this is the last week that we're doing for August. But then from starting in September forward, we will be spending 1 week where we each scraplift the same designer. So you can look for that if scraplifting is something that really interests you. So now this card that I cut apart, that's going to be kind of my title card and kind of my bigger embellishment on the page. And I had to cut it down a little bit because it was like a 4x6 type card, and that was too big because my photo is like 3.5 by 3.5 or 4x4 or something like that. And so I had to cut this card down. So then I just pulled out another paper from the collection, and I love the color of that paper, but I don't know that I would ever use it as a full paper. So then I just used it to create a little border of that kind of turquoise color behind the card. And now what I'm doing is I'm kind of cutting around that flower that's on one of those little journaling cards there. And I'm going to pop it in so that the flower pops up over the photo. I don't think I add any dimension to any of this for a couple reasons. First, I was completely out of fun foam, so I might be able to pull out 1 or 2 little tiny pieces, but I'm not sure if I even do that for this layout. And second, the way I ruffled up all those strips in the background, they create a lot of dimension on their own. So I don't feel like it's necessary to add any more like height to my page. And I hadn't cut far enough around, so then I have to keep going back and cutting a little bit more. Excuse me. So then after I kind of get this settled, I'm going to start pulling in some of the other little pieces from the cut apart sheets and starting to add a few little clusters. The way that Jen had it in her layout is she had some above and below. And I follow pretty closely to what she did in her layout. Obviously I tried to, I make it my own and do what kind of pleases my eye, but I basically take her basic structure of her layout, and that's what I copied in this layout. And I'm pulling my colors off of that card, the kind of title card that's off on the left side there, and out of the floral piece, because I want to make sure that there isn't just some random color. So like the green in the flower, or in the leaves of the flower, is also a little bit in that card, and so I wanted to make sure that I had it somewhere else on the page as well. So I take 2 little cut apart pieces and I kind of layer them up behind my cluster there, so that it looks like it's one piece coming down and it carries, all of the colors around the page. And now I am pulling out these beautiful, beautiful sequins. And unfortunately, when I made this, I was not paying any attention at all. And these sequins do not come out until September 1st. There is a whole new sequin release coming out September 1st. And I accidentally used these ones, and so they're not released yet, but they will be very soon, so go check them out. The little ones I'm using right now is from a sequin mix called On Pointe, and it is a mix of some gorgeous pink color and some blues, and I think there's like kind of a little bit of a green color in it, and it's fantastic. I really love it. And then this other one I'm using is Water Lilies, and I am just pulling out kind of that navy bluish color, and then there's a yellow color that's not quite gold, but it's really pretty, and I think I also pull out some little green discs out of there too, kind of trying to represent all of the colors again, even in my sequins. And the way I'm placing it is I'm trying to mimic kind of this circle design in the paper. So that's how I chose, you know, kind of where I was putting all my sequins and everything. And this is pretty close to the end of the layout. I think I mess around with the sequins, of course, because, you know, they have to look randomly perfect, right? So I'm going to stick those down a little bit, and then I do come in with some of this baker's twine, and I put it in that little tag that's behind the photo. Here I'm just adhering down, and I'm using those mini glue dots. They work well for most sequins. I do need to get, I know they've got the like micro glue dots or whatever, I do need to get those for the smaller of the sequins. But right now I just use some Tombow Mono Multi, and it works really well. And so yeah, that's pretty much how my layout turns out. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on anybody's videos on YouTube, and head on over to the blog and the Instagram account to see what the other ladies have created. I will see you again next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!